Often been coined as LA's secret GM and could make a push to shake up the roster. So, Shannon, we're just a few hours away right now. Does Russell Westbrook get traded today?
I'm going to say no. But he's in the loneliest place in the world, a place where he's not wanted. And unfortunately for him, Skip, it's even lonelier, because guess what? Nobody else wants him either. Someone would be willing to take him for the assets that the Lakers would be asked to throw in. They don't necessarily want him. They want the assets that comes along with taking him off their hands.
Yep.
And that's what it's become. You see, Russell will never look into the mirror, take responsibility for his flaws. He only sees the guy from yesterday, not the guy of today. And that's a bad place to be, Skip. And it's sad what it's come to, because he doesn't realize, and a lot of times, sometimes we're smart enough to realize that I'm not the man that I once was. But Russ only sees yesterday's Russ, the guy that was high-flying, MVP, All-NBA. That's what he sees. No, Skip. I mean, a team can't even talk themselves. What are you getting him for? You can't say, you know what, if I add this piece, championship, could it help us contend? Nobody. That's what's so baffling to me, Skip. And I thought about it when I first heard the trade. I was trying to wrap my mind. What other team thinks Russ is a missing piece for a championship? One team, the Lakers, convinced themselves that Russ was a missing piece, because if AD's out, LeBron and Russ. If Bron is out, AD and Russ.
So what percent of the blame do you assign, as Jenny said, the secret GM LeBron for acquiring Russ?
The same amount of blame that I signed Kevin Durant for putting Kyrie and James Harden in Brooklyn. How much are we going to give him?
Kevin Durant's a follower, not a leader. He followed Kyrie to Brooklyn.
Hey,
he wanted to go to the Knicks.
Who wanted James Harden? The reports are Woj. If the Woj and Brian Windhorst says it was Kevin Durant.
No. James wanted to go to Brooklyn, and Kevin and Kyrie signed off on it like, yeah, James, we'll take James.
Let me ask you a question. If Kevin Durant says, no, we don't want James Harden, is James Harden in Brooklyn?
No, but he said yes, and Kyrie said yes, but James wanted to go in the first place.
Let me ask you a question. If Kevin Durant says, look, Kyrie's not going to get the vaccination, he can't be with us. Why is he back?
Okay, well, why are we changing the subject off these
Because what you're trying to do.
Because you kept telling me that the Buddy Hield deal was in place.
It was in place. It was in place. It was.
And it got vetoed, it sounds like, by the secret GM, who's really not very secret.
First of all, I don't know if it was vetoed. I don't know if they said, okay, we have the Buddy Hield deal in place. I believe the Buddy Hield deal was in place, because Kyle Kuzma says, I was going to Sacramento. And then the next day they says, hold up, there's going to be a change of plan. You're going to Washington. Maybe Rob ran it by AD and LeBron, and it's like, yeah, maybe that was the case.
It has been widely reported that LeBron pushed for Russ.
Well, it's been widely reporting that he's possibly pushing him out the door. You make a mistake, what do? You wallow in it, or you try to rectify the mistake?
You rectify.
Okay, then.
My ultimate question after watching that pathetic effort last night in Portland is this situation fixable?
No, I don't believe it is this year.
Okay, it may not be. So maybe there's no fix, because I would have told you 24 hours ago before I watched that mess last night in Portland, I would have said, and I did say to you repeatedly from this chair, you have to get out from under Russ at any price, at any cost. If you have to pay to get rid of him, it will still be addition by subtraction, which is why I still favor the John Wall scenario, because John Wall is a clutch client. So at least he's in the fold with LeBron and Rich Paul, and he would be much less of a threat.
No fold with no LeBron. That's Rich client. Will you stop saying that?
LeBron runs.
No, LeBron does not. LeBron got enough business endeavors to start worrying about.
Did LeBron not fund it to start it? Yes, he did.
Yeah, okay. Hold on. There are a lot of people that got funded to start businesses that we don't say, oh, that guy funded it, so he's the owner.
Is Clutch not owned and operated by LeBron?
No, it's owned and operated by Rich Paul.
Okay, I don't think so. But whatever. At least they would be in cahoots where they could all get together and say, it has to be this way. I've been around John Wall enough to know that he's a much better guy than Russ is. The problem with Russ is he is as delusional a sports figure as I've ever encountered. And I don't know him personally, but just from a distance, if you put Russell Westbrook on a lie detector right here, right now, I believe he would tell you he's the greatest player in the history of the game. And believe it, with all his, he could pass the lie detector. Seriously, because he averaged a triple-double for the last 5 years. And I have written him off from the start since his early days with KD as nothing but a solo act of a stat machine. And he is the ultimate stat machine who's now losing a little bit of his athleticism, so he can't play much defense and almost no defense.
Right.
And he can't stat quite the way he used to stat.
Right.
Because he's always been a poor shooter. He's always been a poor three-point shooter,
right.
but he wasn't always the poorest free throw shooter, and now he's double poor.
So now he's poor. So when you think about what you said, he was a poor shooter, a poor free throw shooter, a poor three-point shooter, combined with the most turnovers. That's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, he got away with it playing in the shadows of Oklahoma City with no KD,
right.
and he got away with it in Houston, and he got away with it in the shadows of
with
the
Wizards,
no
expectations.
With no expectations, because he was a sideshow of a gate attraction. So Bobby Marks at ESPN has proposed a deal with the Knicks in which you would get back a Cam Reddish. I like Cam Reddish. Would he change your life this year? I doubt it.
No.
But he's a good player. He's just he's a nice player.
Right.
Out of Duke, obviously, and if you gave him a little more leeway, if you gave him a more prominent role, I think he could be pretty good, but he's not going to change your life.
Right.
But the point is, would the Knicks really take Russ back just because they're giving up on the season and they need to sell tickets? Would he be a circus act at Madison Square Garden every night that people would pay to see?
Right.
Let's see if Russ can get another.
No, we're going to hold on to him. You know what, Skip? I believe Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss would have been with you on your side had they won this game last night. I'm just going to hold on to him and try to ride it out. He'll be on an expiring contract in the summer, and I'm going to say, okay, here's an expiring contract.
Okay, but you still owe him the one more at 47. It's an expiring contract, but you might have to eat it.
I believe teams will be more apt to probably take it on this summer as opposed to the middle of the season. They'll start assessing where they are, what they believe they can be come next season, and then I think it's more feasible or greater likely that you're likely a chance that you can be able to move him in the summer.
Okay, so the ultimate question is, are the Lakers salvageable right now? Are they fixable right now?
No.
If you do by addition by subtraction, you get rid of Russ right now, even however it is, to the Knicks or the Rockets, whoever it is, you just get out from under him. Would it suddenly clarify? Would the smoke clear? Would the fog clear that LeBron discussed last night?
Yep.
And suddenly they would all snap out of it and start playing some real live Lakers basketball instead of Fakers basketball.
AD gave you 17 and 7 with no offensive rebounds. LeBron had 6 turnovers. No, they're not salvageable. You was talking about playoffs. I said, Skip, they can hope for the play-in. That's what they're hoping for. That's what they are. That is who they are. You're 56 games in. You can't fool anybody.
Okay, so are you ready to admit that LeBron just can't hack it anymore? He can't lift a pretty good team into the playoffs?
As you get older, no. Just like Tom Brady couldn't hack it. Now, hold on. The guy just retired. Now, all of a sudden, there's a possibility swirling around. He might want to get traded somewhere else. But damn, how much talent you need, Tom? It was up for the longest time. Nobody does more with less. Now Tom Brady needs more to do more.
He went in a pandemic to a team that was 7-9.
Loaded. They were loaded.
Were they?
They were loaded.
Did they suddenly get loaded because they suddenly had the GOAT at quarterback?
So let me ask you a question. Did they trade for Mike Evans? What about Chris Godwin? What about Cameron Brate?
They were all there the year before, and they went 7-9.
Because why? Jameis Winston turned the ball over 35 times. You know, you do realize Jameis Winston in that same offense threw for 5,200 yards. So this notion in 16 games. Tom Brady threw for 5,300 in 17 games. So how many yards would Jameis have thrown for in 17 games? 5,500? So
how many times would he have turned it over?
That's my point. Tom Brady did not turn the ball over. But the notion that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not talented is just not true. You know that, I know that.
There are a lot of talented teams in the National Football Leagues that are losers. And right now, if you look at what he did with a losing team, that they had the losingest reputation that by even statistically in the history
Take care of the ball.
of the league.
Take care of the ball. Yeah. So no, LeBron James cannot take janitors and contractors and elevate them to a playoff team. No, he can't do that. Wow, damn, LeBron. Man, you mean to tell me you can't take lesser tier guys and go to a championship? No, not in year 19 anymore, Shannon. Can't do that.
He's got a top 10 player alongside an AD.
Hold on. On which night? Was he a top 10 player last night?
Yeah.
Well, he blocked 5 shots. That'll work.
The man had, in 41 minutes, he had 17